This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, and especially at the moment, I do hope you're well. Okay, so it's the weekend. I've been having a bit of a jam, and as I've mentioned in the past, if I could only listen to one genre of music for the rest of my days, it would undoubtedly be blues. And it just struck me that it's been a while since I've just done a straight up, straight ahead blues tune. You know, no cocktail, no mixer, no fancy umbrellas sticking out the top of the glass, none of that sort of clever stuff, just a straight ahead blues. So I thought that's what I'd do this week, and that's what's coming next. Now, as for the title, whenever I start playing the guitar, the dog hates it. He absolutely despises the sound of me playing the guitar. Who knows? And when I was recording this, he ended up making horrible Baskerville-like howling noises, like he was some kind of werewolf. So this isn't really so much howling wolf, this is more howling border collie, and hence the title, Howling Collie. Coming up next is the solo, then a brief explanation of what I was doing. Okay, so what we've got here is essentially a chord sequence in G minor, a blues 12-bar thing in the key of G minor. And obviously if that G minor chord is the focal point of proceedings, then it makes sense to dive straight in with G minor pentatonic. And then all of the other patterns as it goes up the neck. like that. And if you don't know those patterns, then probably getting to grips with those and getting those under your fingers is a good place to start. But I'm also adding in other notes, and where are those notes coming from? Well, as you probably know by now when we've looked at this kind of thing, you just borrow notes from the underlying chords. And it takes no theory knowledge or minimal theory knowledge at all to be able to do this. How can I say that with a degree of certainty? Well, because I had minimal theory knowledge when I first started doing it. I'll show you what I mean. Basically, when the chord goes from a G minor to a C minor, I can just look at the guitar and I can see that that note is in the C minor chord. I probably didn't even know what that note was called when I first started doing this. It's an E flat, by the way. But you don't need to know that. You can just look at the pentatonic scale and see that the pentatonic scale has got that note in it, and the C minor chord has got that note in it, and therefore when the C minor chord comes along, you can just add that note in. Getting that kind of thing, which makes the lick sound more C minor centric. You can also add that note when the C minor chord isn't there. You can use it as what would be called a colour tone, where you can just go like that. So you're not emphasising it, you're just kind of onto it and then off it again to resolve onto a stronger note from the pentatonic. So then it's a case of like finding where that note occurs elsewhere in all of the other pentatonic patterns. So this gives you a reason to start exploring the neck and learning where notes are. You know, if you're going to just kind of try and stare at a wall chart with all of the notes of the neck mapped out on it, you're never going to really learn it like that. It's like trying to learn a language by memorising a dictionary. Learn the useful things and learn how to do them little by little, and you'll piece together the entire neck in no time at all. Other notes I was adding in, well, let's have a look at the other chords. There's an E flat 7th chord in there, which you can see has this note in it, this C sharp or D flat. So, you know, when I've got the E flat 7th chord coming along, I can go like that, and you can hear how that fits with that chord. Then there's a D7 chord, which has this F sharp note in it, which is also here in one of its other locations on the neck. So, you know, G minor to D7, landing on that note there, it really does play into that D7 tonality there. Another thing that I sort of twigged really early on when I was learning to play bar chords was that if you've got this minor shape here, you can just move your little finger down to that string there, staying on the same fret, and get something that sounds much more sophisticated. And I think I learned that of all places from watching, anyone remember Haircut 100? I think I remember seeing them on Top of the Pops, and the guitarist in that band was doing that, and I thought, I wonder if I should do that, and I tried it and it sounded good. So, you know, that gave me not only another variation on a minor chord, you end up getting a minor 9th chord by doing that, but it also kind of seemed logical to me that if you can add that note into the chord, then you can add it into your pentatonic scale. So, you know, those will be the two notes on that string in that pentatonic pattern, but I've got this one now because I can add it in. Then that's me C minor chord note, the E flat, which will also work over the E flat 7th chord as well, by the way. And you know, you start noticing little clusters and lumps of notes that you can string together. So like that, and then maybe up here a different pattern because we're on a different part of the neck, but the same note. And that's where I start getting little runs that maybe go that kind of thing, just daisy chaining that sort of thing together. What you're ending up doing if you're adding the E flat and the A note into your G minor pentatonic, you're actually playing the G Aeolian mode. And, you know, I didn't know I was doing that, but, you know, I ended up kind of figuring it out later. But this is the way that you get more note choices to play over like a blues chord progression, or any chord progression for that matter. Just look at what notes you can borrow from the chords and then add those into your core pentatonic. And that's what I was doing in this solo. And of course, there will be a full tab and jam track going up on my Patreon page within a couple of days, just as soon as I've got that whole thing tabbed out for your delectation as a special treat. And thank you for all of my wonderful, wonderful Patreon supporters. I am more grateful than I can tell you, chaps. Much, much appreciated. Thank you very much. So if you want to grab the tab for that solo and the jam track, it's only $3 a month, and you get all of these kind of tabs and everything that go along with these little YouTube videos that I put up. And that's pretty much all I've got for you today. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you found it useful and informative and maybe a bit inspiring and at least a little bit entertaining. And if you have, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And I'll just mention that I'm plugging my wife's jewellery at the moment. She makes some rather nice handmade jewellery, and the link to her online shop is down below. So if you're stuck for a present idea, a gift idea or something like that, check that out. There's the Friday live stream, which I hope to see many of you there. I know it's Saturday today, but I like to kind of remind you in all of the videos, 5 p.m. UK time, we have a live stream where it's just basically having a beer and a chat, and it's a great way to kick off the weekend. And don't forget, if you're thinking of getting a Fret Zealot tuition aid, then you can use this discount code you can see on screen here. There's a purchase link in the description. You'll get a little bit of money knocked off. And while we're on the subject of buying things, don't forget the t-shirts with my new channel ID on, that little caricature that was done of me by a very talented chap called Pete. They are now up on my Teespring store. All the proceeds I would get from the sale of those t-shirts will go to Zoe's Place Baby Hospice, a charity in Middlesbrough that I'm sure you've heard me talk about in the past. They do lots of great work with very seriously ill young kids. So grab a t-shirt, support a good cause. And with that, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you all again next time around. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now, folks.